Welcome back to Factorio Seablock, and it is time to, I think, just quickly take a look at the power situation. I've run out of pellets, and let's just grab them there. Reason why I started pulling out these these wind turbines, thinking, hey, that'll be fine. No, it started really hoovering up the pellets, so we've got to keep things sort of balanced. This is why this setup, I'll come back to that setup in a second, is off at the moment. So I just want to make sure I'm not going to run out of pellets. As I mentioned at the end of the last episode, we can make these into carbon eventually, but I'm going to need more land for that. So on the basis of needing more land, yes, we get some extra out of our ore processing, but I wasn't really happy with just taking the slag from our main processing sort of area to get, our ores to make land. It just starves the rest of the system, unfortunately. So we need this system nice and supplied. So I built a separate electrolyzer with its own pump, sharing nothing essentially, two flare stacks, a crusher, and straight into a factory and straight into an assembly machine and straight into a chest. That's off at the moment because of this power shortage situation. You see the boilers out of power, out of fuel again. So down I go, back for more of these wood pellets. But we are building up a stock of them again. Last time I went down there, it was only 4 left. Now there's 14. So I'm just going to keep doing that for a little while until I get everything back on track again. And we can't use wood bricks for it, of course. Can we make... I think carbon just takes... let's just... can we make a furnace? I just want a manual furnace. That will do. It's just going to make some stone, which should make me a manual furnace. Yes, so I can make a manual furnace, which I can just put anywhere, really. It doesn't really much matter. And in there, we're going to need a few pellets, unfortunately. Let's grab those. And let's just put one in there for a moment, stop it complaining. Then put the wood bricks in there. Can we just... Wood bricks cannot be smelted? I thought that's how we made charcoal. It was charcoal, sorry, not carbon. Thinking of the wrong game. Charcoal. Charcoal. Made in stone furnace. But I need wood processing too. Okay, so let's get wood processing too now while we can. And put that on build. I just need to make those packs. We haven't come to making those automatically yet. They're not terribly hard to make. I'm just short of land, so we can make them from copper plate, which we already have, and electromagnetic core, which I assume is iron. Yep, it is iron, so it's just copper and iron to make these things. So we could pull them from this and this box if they were reasonably together, which we could do by putting the furnace here, and then feeding them both into a box on the end. I'm just again short on land, which is just how it goes at the moment in this particular mod pack. You're going to probably need quite a lot of these producing more and more land, or more landfill, I should say, so that you can create space to actually work on. Okay, so in the last episode, you may remember that I did say that I wanted to convert over to charcoal. I think now's probably a good time to try and do that. Let's just move that out of the way. Yep, that's still not necessary. So we can put in a... well, we're one short. Okay, that's fine. Let me just put in the assembly machine anyway, just so that we can see that production. So we want to make wood bricks from these pellets. And the wood bricks can then be burned. So I can just grab that furnace from, here it is, just the miscellaneous furnace. And we can convert those into charcoal by going via the wood furnace now. So this is going to get moved out by one once I've got a bit more landfill. So I'm going to need to put it, well, I'm going to need more landfill, aren't I? So let's just grab you. We've got enough sand. Okay, and, well... maybe a bit short. Can we get a little bit more? One, and we'll just grab this buffer from over here, and that will then get quickly turned into landfill. That should do. Just enough to move this over by one. There we go. Where are you? My inventory. Am I blind? Yes, I am. Okay. There we go. And then we can just put the furnace down here. Connect everything up with inserters. Okay, And we sort of want to make sure that this is fed with power. Of course, we can feed this with, we can't feed it with wooden bricks, of course. Let's just make sure this is making what we want, brick, and put some power down here. Actually, let's just share it so that that feeds everything. Yeah, so these will get taken from here. Let me just move that for a second, take a rid of view. This still needs wood pellets. We can't feed carbon into it just yet. Sorry, charcoal, I should say, just yet. So it does have to do that, but we are making basic chemistry, and that should give me a recipe I can use to do that. So I'll just keep some in my inventory spare, but it's starting to make wood bricks, okay? It takes 8 pellets per wood brick, so that can't happen, you know, terribly fast. However, each wood brick then turns into 8 carbon, which really helps here. So you can see I've already got some carbon, and I'm just going to feed the sort of fuel side of that with carbon. I keep saying carbon, it's charcoal. So that would be good. So ideally what we want to then do is feed this into here once we can make, well, assuming we can make carbon dioxide from charcoal. And then maybe feed it back so that this can always keep fed as far as the fuel side of things is concerned. We want to make sure that happens. Although it could be possible that, oh no, it needs to be charcoal. Yes, charcoal. So we do need to make sure that that happens. Yeah, let me just rearrange this. So we've got lots of charcoal there now. We've got 68, which again we can use for our steam engine up here. And that, oh, that's going to warm up the water. Hopefully that will slow down very soon once the water is warm. And there's the steam's maxed out. So are you going to slow down? Wow, you're not. How much power is being used? Oh no, it is slowed down. Just to get a few of those. Okay, so basic chemistry is finished. And does that mean we can switch this recipe to something else? Okay, yeah. So carbon dioxide from wood pellets, carbon dioxide from charcoal, and so what's the comparison there in the numbers? So 1 charcoal makes 25. 1 makes 70 carbon dioxide. I'm going to have to do a comparison of that, but this will work faster. So I'm going to leave it to work faster for now. Let's just remove that. And then from here, yeah, we got the charcoal. So we're going to bring that back out again somehow. We'll decide exactly how soon enough. But for now, we can just put it there. And that will work. We do probably want to buffer that into a box again. So I'm just going to grab... Oh, needs to be one earlier than that. Let me just put a box there. Another inserter and a belt to finish. There we go. So that should fill up, and it's certainly making carbon dioxide fast enough, but I'm not sure if that's more efficient. Let me do some calculations and see which one's better, because we could just pull another wooden, well, we could make sure that it goes by here with wooden pellets first, and then it goes over here to be made into wooden bricks and then into charcoal. And yeah, and the calculation does work out fine, because essentially 1 wooden pellet is turning into 3 charcoal. So here we are getting 75 out of 3 charcoal, and we're getting 70 out of 1 wooden pellet. So it is slightly better to go with the charcoal. I will correct myself from saying carbon. And that does mean that we're getting quite an excess of charcoal here now, which I'm then reusing. I've moved all these out horizontally. You'll see why in a second. Over here, let's see how well this is keeping up. Well, this is keeping up quite well, so I'm just going to keep filling that up. I'm making sure there's an excess of charcoal over there. On this side, what I want to do is keep getting more landfill, because we want to, I think, keep expanding this chain outwards. Because I think we want to look at science over here at some point soon. So let's just fill as much as we can. The science packs that we had a look at are made from these electromagnetic cores and electromagnetic coils. So we are going to need a couple of assembly machines. 3, I think, in total should do fine. And what we're going to do is put them here. Well, let's try putting them here to start off with. So they're going to be in parallel, and they're going to feed into another machine. And I think once I have a little bit more landfill, we can put the machines in. So let's for now just select the electromagnetic coils and the... There we go. So we got those going. We need a couple of inserters, which will work once this... Ooh, these are still pellet fired. Let's get rid of those. I want those back, and let's just convert them into carbon, shall we? By that, and then we can refill them by this. So, you're short of ore. Are we short of this? No, it's just that this is quite slow in general. Okay, let's get more landfill. Let's fill out this last bit here. So, let's put in a factory. We can put it there for now, because we have the ability to use inserters to go sort of 90 degrees. Let's put in some power. And let's put these inserters like this and set them to go 90 degrees. There we go. And then this one can make the sacrificial electromagnets. Let's pick that up, make sure everything is just dropped into place. And let's just drop in those. And it's still going to start producing our science packs, which means if I get a little bit more landfill, I can transfer the lab all the way from over here all the way over here instead, and have that automatically do our science. So how much have we got? 5. Let's see if we can just get a little bit of that. Not enough. Okay, so we will wait, and there's our chest for the rest of the landfill that will arrive. And this is on permanently now as well, so this does pile up over time. Obviously it just takes a few minutes to get to a reasonable amount of them. And we need to make sure that these are fed with a decent amount of charcoal. So let's just grab one there and one that side. Doesn't matter terribly if they're equal for now. I've upgraded these to the electric versions, so nothing much needed there. Ooh, actually, why aren't you feeding outwards? Oh, there. They're set to the wrong thing. They've got something in their hands, so we need to just reset them. There we go. That'll work just fine. Okay, the whole process will kick off. They'll start producing iron and copper. They'll get fed into our buffer chest, just in case we need a buffer for future, which goes into our electromagnet stuff, which goes into this, which eventually, hopefully, do I have enough landfill left? Maybe. Let's just fill this out. And... do we have enough now to put... not quite. Oh, well. Let me just get some more landfill. Oh, is that enough? No, not quite. One more? That should be enough. So there goes our lab. There goes our inserter. We just need one more power pole. And there we go. Automatic science. So, or at least for these first packs. What do we want next? Long-handed inserters will be useful, although maybe we'll get the inserter technology to let us do that normally, but we could do it with these packs anyway. Coal processing, that will let me make carbon. I knew I'd get to it eventually, but we have to make carbon dioxide and get charcoal out of it, but then we get a fuel value of 6 megajoules from each one. So we'll have to do the calculations on that. It should be more, or it should be better to actually go up in technology, hopefully. There shouldn't be any reason not to. Well, you should hope the person who developed the mods shouldn't have done that. So coal processing, I guess we could take that because we can already make carbon dioxide from charcoal, and then we can further process this back, and then what we may have to do, however, is keep feeding this with charcoal unless we get a recipe for unless we get a recipe for carbon dioxide with charcoal. Is there any with carbon even? Is there any carbon dioxide recipes out there? Let's see how it's made. Wood pellets, no. Carbon monoxide and steam, we don't have carbon monoxide yet. We can take a look at that. Limestone. Acid, no. So we're going to have to feed charcoal in to get carbon dioxide from wherever we put this other liquefier. And then from that, we'll bypass it as well, probably with a splitter of some kind, and have the carbon and the resulting carbon dioxide fed into something else, which will produce us Yeah, we'll produce the full carbon block, which I assume is more efficient to do, which will then be able to feed our steam engines with full carbon blocks, or even solid fuel at some point. Is there any way to get from carbon into solid fuel? What is that used for? So we're going to need it for electronic components. That's fine. Oh, there's lots of recipes for this. So we get solid fuel in here. Doesn't look like it. How do we get... No, well, if solid fuel is even a thing in this mod pack. Which... fuel value is 25 megajoules, but how do we make it? Charcoal and methane. We don't have methane yet. Charcoal and naphtha. Charcoal and fuel oil. So we're going to need oil processing of some kind, and we don't have any oil patches, so we're going to have to make oil from water? Synthesis gas and hydrazine gas. That's more like Kerbal Space Program. In any case, we can't get to solid fuel, so we are going to have to get to carbon. And that said, let's wait for our research to complete. Okay, with that research complete, let's check on this fuel situation. We're running out of fuel in this furnace, so what I think I want to do is send the stuff this way. And that should still get pulled in by that carbon dioxide thing there. And then we can put an inserter here, which hopefully should feed the fuel side. It is. Good. So that's going to keep that furnace nice and happy. And then we can now, hopefully, is it with a liquefier? Always landfill. Let's just grab. We should have a fair bit. Yeah, we got 23. That should do for now. I'm going to just run onto a bit more landfill here. So let's just grab that and put our liquefier in place. Don't think it matters which way the arrows are pointing for the moment. Let's just take a look at here. So we can now make carbon. We're going to need carbon dioxide for it, of course. So we're going to have to make one of these for carbon dioxide first, maybe. So maybe if we rotate this way and turn this into carbon dioxide, we can put our inserter here. And we'll be able to make carbon dioxide, which we can feed into a second liquefier if I have enough of the landfill. And let's just grab another liquefier. There we go. And we can put that directly one into the next, hopefully. Yeah, it's just taking a little while to make that liquefier, but otherwise fine. And now in this one, can we select this? Hopefully we can. And we just need a little bit more charcoal. And now this should be making... Yeah, it's making proper carbon. Okay, so now with the proper carbon, we can put it wherever we want. I'm probably just going to want to box it for now, I guess. Although we could use it as a better alternative for this furnace. This furnace is in the wrong place now for that. So, yeah, this is still making carbon, however, so I can't immediately... how am I going to rearrange this? Okay, this should do. So we're feeding carbon into this box here. That in turn is feeding in for this furnace, which is making carbon. So if we just then grab an inserter, or well, I'm just going to make two. Yep, just make that and then tell it to pick up from there. It's going to make carbon. We can then use an underground belt here and feed that to here. Remove this out of the way. Like that. Need more belt. Always need more belt. I miss bots already. There we go. And now we can tell this one to grab... Oh, no. Grab from there. And that will work exactly the same. So carbon dioxide going in, carbon going in, carbon going in here, and we're making carbon dioxide into essentially carbon here. So we could just get more landfill and get this produced, but we've got 62 already. And I think what I'm going to do is go and replace that in our steam engine, or at least in our boilers. Let's just get rid of all of you and replace it with all of you. Okay, I'm hopeful that's slow because of that, but this is 6 megajoules versus 5, so that's going to slow that down because we're getting more energy out of each cycle of all of this. So let's look at what research we need to get next. In fact, good point. Is this actually piling up? It's only storing one of these. This could be making more, but it isn't, because this isn't being piled up. I want to stockpile these just in case I'm not good. Well, I already know I'm not good at always choosing a research, so let's just actually put a chest in place and put that there. And then let's just go this way, because we can also put another science lab here if we ever make too much. Ha, making too much science, not going to happen. And now this is producing, and it will pile up naturally in this box. Let's just make sure that's limited somewhat. And yeah, that whole thing should keep ticking over. What's the next research we want? Well, yes, let's see what it leads to more than anything else. So optics leads to laser, which leads to turrets and military, but also solar energy. Solar energy takes huge amounts of land space for a small amount of power. It's free power, but I don't think we have the land space, to be perfectly honest. So let's give that a skip. Long inserters will lead us to long inserters 2. That allows range to be configured. But I think, yeah, that's the one we actually want, with the regular inserters allowing us to configure things. But that will be a short-term gap. Sulfur processing, we don't have any sulfur yet, so I'm not going to worry about that. Nor can we have all the space for blast furnaces. If you've seen in my regular Angels and Bobs, you'll know just how much space they take up. Fluid control, that's kind of handy. I actually want that. Just because we can then use oxygen and hydrogen, and very often the oxygen and hydrogen are in different proportions than the proportions we get out of here. What do we actually get out of this recipe? So 30 and 40, so they're uneven. So very often having an overflow valve is very, very useful, and then you can flare off the excess quite easily. How much? Oh, it's a 26 landfill now. That's actually pretty good. Okay, so back on with the research, and join me again shortly. Now, if you recall earlier, we made some research called washing. Now, I did mention that it can have an output of mud, which is what we can use to make more landfill, which is really the shortage at the moment. The shortage is just available land to build on. So to do anything with that, we're going to need a couple of things. One is one of these, the seafloor pump. Doesn't much matter where I put this at now, because I don't have space anywhere for this. So let's just put it here. And if we put a pipe on the end of it, you'll see what it outputs is viscous mud water. So if you then look into FNEI, just Control E, you can click on viscous mud water, see how it's made, but we don't need to see how it's made. You kind of just right. In fact, hang on, if you just go back here, if you right click here, you can see what it makes. So it makes two things, either a barrel of viscous mud water, but we don't have the technology for barreling apparently. Is that fluid handling? Yeah. So what we can make with it, with some water as well, so we'll have to have a second pump, is mud, and mud can be turned into dirt with any sort of factory. So 25 to 1, this is 5 seconds. So in 5 seconds, we're going to be 5 times 25, so 2 minutes we're going to get dirt out of it. So that's going to take, it's quite a long time to actually get some landfill. However, we can also make other stuff with this. I think we can just make the various different kinds of things. Yeah, so we can make any of the land types that we want. And in fact, I'm not sure whether what do you think about the sand type? It's all right, but we could go for any of the other types as well once we get this. It's just that from our current processes, the only thing we can make is this sand type. So we can use mud to do that, but we'll also get a couple of other outputs. So hydrogen sulfide, as you might guess from the sulfide, is where we get our sulfur from, or at least the initial way we get sulfur, I guess. So if we go through there, we can make sulfur a bunch of different ways. Sorry, hydrogen sulfide is one of them. We just need oxygen. We know where we can get oxygen from. We're getting that from the electrolyzers. That'll give us sulfur, which we can then use to make alien explosive fluid, I guess. But sulfur dioxide is probably the right output for it. And then that will take us to sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid will take us to lots of things. Yeah, so that's something we'll have to get to. So let's go back, and then we get to heavy mud water. Heavy mud water gets us even more mud. So every time we process this, each 5 seconds long, we'll of course get one mud out of it, which will take us to concentrated mud water, which will take us to light, which will take us to thin, and then eventually to saline. saline, which will take us to brown algae. So we can feed that back into our brown algae farm. However, that is going to take an awful lot of space. You'll see this uses washing plants all the way down. And if I remember rightly, washing plants are not small. Let's take a look at a washing plant. That's just going to take a few seconds to make. Let's just grab more sand while that's being made. And there it is. Yeah. That is not small. So we're going to have to, if we want to do that process, we're going to need a lot more land. And we're probably going to want to build it back towards this because eventually we're going to get saline water out of it. So if we have another plant going backwards this way, and I start making, you know, more land space available, ooh, that's going to be painful, we can eventually feed it back into the brown algae farm. Not that we're particularly doing anything with said brown algae at the moment. What can we actually do with it that might be useful? Brown algae. Just algae, maybe? There we go. Brown algae, what can we do? We can make alginic acid, so we can get that out through an assembly machine. Sodium carbonate. And lithium chloride. Sodium carbonate sounds more useful. Glass. Okay. And alginic acid, we already know we can get cellulose pulp out of. Cellulose pulp goes into paper, which can go into wooden boards. Wooden boards goes into basic circuit boards. So, we're probably going to pull this out into a basic circuit board factory at some point. Can we make anything else with wooden boards or paper? It looks like it's intended entirely for this basic circuit board. There doesn't appear to be, what can we also make? We don't have chlorine yet, so we can't do anything else with that. We can make solder, but yeah, nowhere there yet. So the only thing we can really make is alginic acid and lithium chloride. Is there anything for you? Lithium? Lithium perchlorate and thermal water. Thermal water is how we get red algae. Okay, so there is a bunch of different chains we can make from brown algae. For now, we might want to just think about maybe just boxing it up. That seems reasonable to do to keep it processing. We can only make iron chests, so I'm just going to make 3 of those and 3 inserters. And I'm just going to output there, I think, and put our boxes down. And that'll do for now. They'll happily keep going while we get even more land. Okay, so the fluid research is now done, and we're free to pick up something else. Well, we may as well pick up sulfur processing. I guess we're going to need that at some point or another. Yeah, we can make sulfur dioxide, sulfuric acid, as we said, and 3 sulfur, of course. So let's just pick that for now. That's going to start processing again. Are we building up in excess? Yeah, we are. That's good. We're approaching the end of this episode, so I think what I'm going to do, next episode, I think I'm going to move this setup down all the way down the other end, put in an extra pump, something along those lines. You can see it's got carbon to actually fuel it, but I think down the other end we're going to have the production of proper carbon here, and then we can feed that off into some kind of array of steam engines at some point. Not sure how many it'll support, so what we might do is have the boilers up here somewhere, maybe have a pump like here-ish or something like that, and have the water pipe running around, and then it will just feed this into the boilers. And then, of course, we've got to get washing plants. But that's probably going to be for next episode. Well, in fact, it is going to be for next episode now. Hope you enjoyed this episode. It's been about half an hour of me getting power sorted. So feel free to give it a like, thumbs up, etc. Subscribe, share. But let me know in the comments if you have any corrections that you've seen. I did actually remove 1 liquefier, by the way. I didn't need 2 of them, so I've removed that again. And yeah, let me know anything in the comments below. Otherwise, as always, thanks for watching.